Human beings, especially entrepreneurs, are wired in a way where the novelty is fun and novelty is exciting. So when you're doing something new, okay, that feels like a lot of fun. And doing the boring, repetitive things, that's not very exciting and engaging, so you chase the new. But the reality of it is, if you want to build a really great business, it's built on doing the boring, repetitive things for a long period of time. I'm Michael Mogill, founder and CEO of Crisp, the nation's #1 law firm growth company. I've built my business through practice, not theory. Crisp started with just $500 to my name and has grown to over 8 figures in revenue over the last few years, earning a spot on the Inc. 500 list of the fastest growing private companies in America. Our approach has been to take everything we've learned about generating massive growth within our own organization and help the country's most ambitious and committed law firm owners do the same for theirs. In each episode of this podcast, I sit down with innovative market leaders from the legal industry and beyond to learn from those who thrive in the face of adversity, challenge the status quo, and define what it means to be a true game changer.
This is Jessica, Head of Coaching Strategy at Crisp, and today we're flipping the script for another special edition episode to get Michael's take on why the best growth strategy might be hidden in what you're already doing, how to achieve exponential results without exponential resources, and how to apply leverage beyond yourself.
What are the opportunities that you can scale? Because you can bring in and attract people that share the same value set, and you can scale values, you can scale culture. There was a time where it wasn't you, and there will be a future where it's no longer you anyway.
That's coming up on the Game Changing Attorney podcast. Welcome back to our next episode of the AMMA.
Excited to be here.
Always
Always a pleasure, Jessica, sitting down with you, answering a bunch of questions that I don't know what the questions will be or what the topic will be, and hopefully we can provide some sort of useful insight for people who are listening.
Yes. We're going to talk about something today, though, before we get into that. I would like you to share your recent daddy-daughter experience that you had with Mila.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, we went to the movies.
Yeah. What did I tell you before the movies?
Well, you said it's not going to go the way you expect it to. So figured as much. I mean, taking a 6-year-old to the movies, but it's fun. We got our snacks and
this is also to see Superman, not a Disney or Pixar movie.
Yeah, we did. So I mean, it was part of a team outing actually. So we actually took the Crisp team and we bought out the theater. So you could bring a +1, and my +1 happened to be our daughter. And she was actually really excited about it. I played the trailer for her days before, and I was like, do you want to go see this? And then I asked a couple people, and I'm like, is this a little early for a 6-year-old? And they said probably, and I'm like, okay. I wanted to see it anyway.
Right.
So anyway, I got her all prepped. We had the snacks, and it wasn't movie theater snacks. We snuck some snacks in, right?
Healthy snacks.
Yeah, because if you got the food dyes and the red, 40 or whatever, and you have them eating that, by the time they get home, they're just absolute lunatics. So we had some healthy popcorn and some healthy like Twizzlers and so on. I mean, they're just healthier option.
Yes.
If you look at what is it, like if you buy popcorn at the movies, I mean, it's like 1,000 calories for a bag of popcorn. Can you imagine what that does to a 6-year-old? Like insanity, right? So anyway, we get there. Everything's good. Everything's great. I will say it's been a while since I've been to the movies. So for those that go to the movies often, maybe you already know this, but it was like 30 minutes of previews before the movie even started. And that's pretty crazy. There's the start time of the movie, and then there's 30 minutes of just previews. And then she asked me after the preview, she said, is it over? And I'm like, no, it's like the movie's about to start now. So then it gets started. This is what surprised me. Probably every minute to 2 minutes, she had an ask, right? Just something. Either she would ask me about the movie, which is totally fine. Like a character's like, is he good? Is he bad? Why is this happening? That's all good. Or she'd ask for a snack. And I tried to ration the snacks.
Right.
Because I didn't want her to just be loaded up on all the snacks during the previews and then not have any snacks left during the actual movie itself. And then came the bathroom breaks. Yes. Okay, this I was not ready for. So I was under the assumption we would sit there and we would watch the movie. And what I quickly learned was that, so the first time she's like, I got to go to the bathroom. And obviously I'm not going to let a 6-year-old go to the bathroom by herself. So we go together. I'm leaving the movie at a crucial point, but what are you going to do?
Yeah.
Right? So we're out for, 10 minutes, maybe 15 minutes. and I'm outside the stall like a bodyguard, basically. Like people are walking in and out, and they're like, why is this
What are you
dude standing
doing?
outside
Yeah.
of a stall? Like,
Yes.
but that's essentially what I was. I was like Secret Service. And then we wash our hands and go back inside, and the movie's in a totally different place. I have
Yeah,
no
you don't even
idea
know.
how we got to where we are in the film. There's new characters, right? There's all sorts of backstory that I perhaps missed. So anyway, all good, right? So then, she keeps asking about snacks. She keeps asking about the movie. And I'm like, every time she asks me a question, of course, I'm paying attention to her and I'm answering it, and then I'm looking back. So it's, it's almost like multitasking. Then about 30 minutes later, she got to go to the bathroom again. And I look at her and I'm like, I think you're tricking me, because I don't think you really have to go, because you went the first time and it's been 30 minutes.
Yes.
She's like, no, I have to go. I'm like, all right, I guess we're going, right? We walk out of the theater, we walk into the bathroom, we get to the bathroom, and I knew it. She's like, I tricked you. I said, what? She's like, I don't have to go. And I was like, I knew you didn't. So why? Why did you do it? She just thought it was funny, right? So then we go back into the movie. So this is probably towards, I don't know, maybe there's like 45 minutes left in the movie. And she's like, is it over? Like, she is done.
Done.
She's ready to go
Yeah.
home. I think so. I think we're coming to a close here. I had no idea, because I had no idea how far into the movie we were, because now we're in a totally different space. And what I did tell her was, because the dog, Crypto, is a pretty big character in the Superman movie, and she thought the dog was cute. And I saw when we walked into the theater, they were selling these plush, like stuffed animals of the dog. And I'm like, girl, if we make it to the end, you're going to get yourself Crypto. So she held on. So anyway, then the movie ends, and we get Crypto. And then people are asking me, they're like, hey, what'd you think of the movie? Did you like it? My answer was like, I have no idea.
Yeah.
They're like, was it good? I have no idea. They're like, what do you mean? You just went to a movie. You don't know if it was good or not? I'm like, well, I probably saw about 50% of it. And in the spots that I did see, it was kind of like, it wasn't a consecutive 50%. I think it was pretty good, right? So anyway, what I told you when I got home was like, yes, that was unexpected. But at no point was I angry or frustrated. It was just more so like, well, this is what we're doing. It's just a different experience. It's like we're going to the movies, but we're not going to watch the movie.
Correct.
We're going to spend some time together.
Yeah.
So it was, it was fun. I may have to watch it again when it comes to to streaming. Imagine someone asking you something every 2 minutes.
Yeah. Welcome to a day in the life.
Dad life. But it was fun. It was fun. We had a good time. And let's get back to this AMMA. So you guys submit the questions. You text us at 404-531-7691. And Jessica compiles the questions. And if you ask a really good question, maybe we'll answer it here on the show. Questions relating to leadership and culture and marketing and brand, just how to scale your law firm. And this is one of many different types of episodes we have on the show. We've got our traditional interview style episodes. We bring on an expert from the legal industry and beyond. And then we've got the encore editions where we bring back some of our most popular episodes. But these are the AMMAs. Jessica, so what do we have this week? I'm excited.
All right. Well, let's kick it off with question number 1. Michael, my partner and I have been running our criminal defense practice for almost a decade, and we've reached a plateau at $1 million in revenue. My partner's first thought is always to add something new, offer a new service or practice area. He's tried to diversify our practice several times now, and each time we don't really see it all the way through. In fact, it feels like we go backwards. I'm not opposed to trying new things, but I'm wondering if it's worth the risk. We want to grow, but what if this sets us back again?
So you got one of these types of people in your life. So that's your partner. They're like the squirrel type. There used to be some things on the internet, maybe this still is, where everyone would talk about the number of streams of income that they'd have. I got 8 streams of income or 9 streams of income, and people associated those that were successful by having multiple streams of income. The thing was that everyone who was talking about the multiple streams of income that they had, for the most part, in like teaching people that, was generally broke. And what I've learned over time is that wealth is really built through concentration, and then the preservation of it is through diversification. So and what that means is you go all in on something. You don't go all in on 4 businesses at the same time. It's interesting when I speak to firm owners, they're like, yeah, I got this investing business, I got this real estate business, I got this other kind of business, and it's like, well, my law firm is struggling. Like, why? Right? And it's just like this mystery, this universe, galaxy mystery that no one can seem to crack of why, when they split their focus in 5 different ways, does the one that get the least amount of focus struggle. And it's the same thing. And look, without having more context here, it's hard to say definitively whether, well, actually, you know what? Let's rewind that. And actually, yes, I could say definitively. If you got a criminal defense practice at $1 million in revenue, you should not even be thinking about diversification. And I'll give you a reason why. So, and I could give you all sorts of boring businesses that have scaled well beyond that, focusing on one thing. You got Athletic Greens has one product and it's scaled to 9 figures.
Yeah.
Like the butt wipes, the dude wipes, they're like the little, like, what is it, moist wipes?
Yeah.
That is a 9-figure, $100 million plus company. All they do is create wipes for your butt. That's it. Like they're not trying to diversify into skincare and all sorts of other things. And it's the same thing in the practice of law. I would say that until you get to 8 figures, like 10 million or more, there shouldn't even be any thought or consideration of diversifying into another practice area or another market area. Ultimately, here, based on this question, I don't even know if it's a question of the idea itself or the need to diversify, and more of a question of execution and follow through.
Yeah.
Because there's a lot of fast starts, but then a lack of finish. And the reason for this is like human beings, especially entrepreneurs, are wired in a way where the novelty is fun and novelty is exciting. So when you're doing something new, okay, that feels like a lot of fun. And doing the boring, repetitive things, that's not very exciting and engaging. So you chase the new. But the reality of it is, if you want to build a really great business, it's built on doing the boring, repetitive things for a long period of time. It not like I had this great idea for this clothing that would wick sweat from your body and be used for, in athletics and sports. Oh, we'll call it Under Armour. Oh, what a great idea. But then you had to figure out, okay, how are we actually going to manufacture this stuff? And then how are we going to distribute it? And then how are we going to brand it and market it? And you're like, yeah, but I don't want, that's not exciting to me anymore. I want to create a phone, and then just
Squirrel.
Yeah, squirrel, right?
Yeah.
So you have to remain disciplined to some extent of being able to see things through, and then look at your law firm and say, are we maximizing all of our existing opportunities? So meaning that if you plateaued at $1 million, well, why is that? Could we plateaued at $1 million because the number of new cases that we bring in, maybe there's an opportunity to improve. I mean, you can get down to, before you even consider the marketing, the intake.
Yeah.
Like how many calls come in? What's our conversion rate? Maybe we could just improve our intake process and we can improve, our intake team. And that's going to yield a higher conversion rate without us having to spend any more money on marketing. And as a result, we'll drive up revenue. Or maybe you've got that dialed in, probably not. But let's say you do. Then you can look at it and say, well, how do we scale the inbounds, right? In terms of us acquiring clients and cases. Like, what does that marketing engine need to look like? And then you can also look at it from the standpoint of revenue. It doesn't always tell you the full story. What's our profitability, right? You could have $1 million in revenue and no profit, or even be taking a loss. And you can have $2 million in revenue and still zero profit. So it doesn't necessarily mean that higher revenue is the end all be all. That you can look at the profit and say, what's our efficiency look like? Where are we? Where do we have opportunities to be able to get work done and leverage technology better? Maybe you're leveraging AI. Maybe there's opportunities to train and develop your team. Maybe it's just an opportunity to increase output. All those things. And then when you look at all those different factors, you can even look at it and say, all right, until you have, let's say, gotten data that you have entirely saturated your market, which you haven't, right? I mean, even we work with firms that are even in small towns and have built 8-figure practices. So you don't have to be in a major market or major city, but let's say you have data on, like, let's say you're a personal injury lawyer, on the number of auto accidents, and you can get an idea of how many are like available in the market and what percentage of that you're getting, because they're going somewhere. They just may not be going to you. The challenge of creating something new, whether it's a new practice area, a new market, is it introduces additional complexity that unless you have a really solid foundation already and you've systematized your existing process. Let's say you're running, like, I don't know, Chick-fil-A. Like, Chick-fil-A wouldn't start expanding into multiple locations until they dialed in that process, and then it made it much easier to scale. But imagine they were running an organization where there wasn't really any training, there wasn't systems, there wasn't any sort of processes in place. They hadn't figured out the brand, they hadn't figured out, like, how do we actually get customers in the door, how do we maintain profitability, et cetera. And then they start scaling locations, it'd be a nightmare. They go out of business. So that's why I would say, like, evaluate if you're leveraging what you have now and you're maximizing what you have now. And I can tell you with absolute confidence,
You're not.
and I'm not trying to poo-poo it, because $1 million is worthy achievement. Most business, I think, is like 1% of businesses in America like get to 7 figures. What you've done is a great thing, but that doesn't necessarily mean, okay, now it's time to do something else in order for us to grow. It may mean let's double down on what we're doing and try to get the most out of it. And then once we've really saturated that and gotten the maximum efficiency and we're in a really good place, now we can introduce additional complexity.
Agreed. Completely agree. Execution. All right. Question number 2. I was talking to a colleague who runs a similar practice. We're at similar revenue levels, but I just found out today that he has almost half my headcount. I was floored. I know it's not some special technology because I even asked if he had reduced employees through AI, and he hasn't, but he has fewer lawyers than me and way less staff. What am I missing? I feel like I need to start looking at where to cut cost.
Yeah, comparison's the thief of joy,
Literally
isn't it?
what I was about to say.
Just comparing yourself to somebody else. There's a quote, I read it yesterday. It was something along the lines of like, it's from James Clear. He said, compete externally and you compare, compete internally and you improve. Okay, there you go. See? So the fact that you're comparing yourself to someone saying, oh, wow, we're doing the same revenue. He's got half the headcount. Maybe I should start cutting.
Yeah.
Well, first of all, I think he's demonstrating what's possible. I don't know necessarily that means you should start reducing costs, because chances are if you're at the same revenue and he has half the amount of people, it's usually he either has better people or better cases or both.
Yeah.
And that's how I would look at it from the standpoint of, okay, so do you have an idea of what his average case value is? Maybe the way he's positioned this firm is attracting a different type of client, and for every 2 that you have to attract, you only have to attract 1. That's number 1. Number 2, you look at the people, and I would tell you that an A player has outsized returns over a B or C player. This is going to be rough math, but I remember reading something that, with a A player, you're getting 150 to 200% output, and they're doing like 150% to 200% of their job. With a B player, they're doing about 80% of their job, and with a C player, doing about 50% of their job. Maybe this person's built a really, really strong team where they're just more effective and their output is greater, so they require less people. So they're just able to be more efficient as a whole. But I would look at those 2 things instead of saying, well, where can I make cuts? Because unless there's opportunities for efficiency,
yeah,
maybe ask this person, like, what's your average case value? How many cases do you bring in a month?
Right.
And in terms of like your head count, like I've got twice as many people. How are you doing it with half as many?
Yeah.
And maybe he'll share that with you. Maybe he'll be like, man, what? We don't need somebody to, open the doors and then also at the same time answer the phones, and while they're doing that, plug in the batteries, and then while they're doing, you know what I mean? Like, we don't need all these different people. Yeah. There's one person, our office manager does that.
Yeah.
Right? And maybe they figured out a way to more efficiently and effectively. I don't know. Either that, or maybe they have the same people you do, and they just get better cases, and that's a function of just how they position themselves and what their acquisition engine looks like.
Yeah. But there's definitely additional layers to that question.
Absolutely.
Yeah, there's depth.
Yeah, but why not just start cutting? What could go wrong?
Yeah.
Why not?
It's not that easy.
Why not? Yeah, let's just start cutting arms and legs, and and then by the end of it, like, oh, now we'll have half as many people. And then you perform that experiment, and then you get to the end of it, and you're like, wait, our revenue went down. Right. Why? Because we didn't do any diagnosis, because we just jumped to a fucking conclusion.
Yeah, that's not a great
now
approach.
We have an explicitly rated podcast.
Yes, not the first time. All right, to round us out with question number 3 today. Hey, Michael, I've built my family law practice on deep client relationships and specialized knowledge that I've developed over years. I've brought on more people, but I am convinced that it's impossible to scale that personal touch that I have. It's just not the same. How am I supposed to grow when that something special is me?
You special little butterfly. How?
The only one.
You can't grow because it's only you, and you're the only person who can do what you do in your relationships that you built. There's just only one of you. You're one of one, unique little butterfly. Isn't that exactly what you want to hear? Right? I sometimes think when people ask these questions, that's what they want to
validation.
hear. They want to know, yes, you are so special. No one can do it like you can. But here's the reality. There's graveyards full of irreplaceable people. And if you were to pass on, then either the firm will go out of business or they would figure it out how to continue on without you. So, but the question is, okay, well, how do I maintain the level of relationships and like the people that I have, they can't seem to do it, and I built it on my back, and et cetera. And I've been there. Like,
oh, we've all had that thought.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And what you realize is that you don't have to find another you. In many respects, there is only one of you. And that's a great thing. It's more so like, well, what are the opportunities that you can scale? Because you can bring in and attract people that share the same value set, and you can scale values, you can scale culture. There was a time where it wasn't you, and there will be a future where it's no longer you anyway.
Yeah.
So yes, there's many ways to do that. I mean, we said it on a previous podcast, and I went on this whole diatribe of like JP Morgan Chase. Do you think that's like when you call, that's who you're dealing with? Or Wendy at Wendy's? Just Ronald McDonald at, McDonald's or the Burger King?
Yeah.
What is that little bandit? And those are mascots. But my point is that instead of viewing yourself as so important, it's looking at it from the standpoint of what are the things that I can scale here. I'm not saying you have to take yourself out of it entirely, but there are things maybe that only you can do. Like maybe only you can set the vision. and like for the law firm. And maybe only you can work with certain types of high profile clients, or like that's, you help to bring them in. Or there's like really high stakes litigation that you like to be a part of. But then, there's other great trial attorneys out there, obviously. And more so shifting your time, energy, and focus to the things that are unique to the skill set that you have that perhaps aren't as easily replicable. I mean, and I say as easily, meaning that you can replicate anything.
Right.
If we talk about orders of complexity, there's people that are launching rockets, and then there's people that are building iPhones. Like, it is extremely, extremely complex to build one, and yet they have thousands of people in China, in India, that they have like developed the skills of how to do this level of precision.
Yes.
There's watchmakers, right, that like make handmade watches. There's carpenters, that make like furniture. Like, there's all sorts of skills that could be learned. It was a time where you learned the skills that you learned.
Right.
So it doesn't necessarily mean that it's non-transferable. It can be, and you can teach and coach and train and develop somebody else to be able to do some of these things. But it really starts by lessening your view of your own importance and really looking at it from the standpoint of, okay, well, what are the things that only I can do, and what are the things that can come off my plate so that I can focus more of my time and energy on that first and foremost. And then also in terms of what are the things that I do specifically, like maybe you got to write it down. Maybe there's a process, maybe there's a system, maybe there's a set of principles and decision-making principles that you operate from. And then how do I also coach and empower others to operate that way? Because I used to think that I was the only one who could film and edit videos at Crisp. And I learned very quickly that that was absolutely not the case. Correct. In fact, the people we have doing it now are way better than I ever was. And then I thought I was the only one who could manage projects and like client projects. And we learned that that was not the case. Same with sales, same with marketing, same with every single aspect, even the coaching side. I was like, who's going to be able to coach law firm owners? Turns out that our coaches are way better than I am. Like, they are literally better than me at all of these things. So these humans do exist, and you can find them, but it really starts by realizing that, we are not that important, as important as we might believe. And to be honest, we're all going to pass on anyway. So, it's like, what is it? Colonel Sanders? You expect him when you go to Kentucky Fried Chicken?
Okay.
I don't think so.
I don't think so. That will round us out today.
All right. Till next time.
You've been listening to the Game Changing Attorney podcast with Michael Mogill. If you found this episode valuable, here are 3 free ways that we can help you grow your law firm. Number 1, download the first chapter of Michael's book absolutely free at gamechangingattorney.com. Number 2, you can shoot Michael a text at 404-531-7691 and ask him any question you'd like. You might just hear the answer on the next episode. And finally, number 3, if you can leave this podcast a 5-star review, it will help us gain access to more influential thought leaders and bring their lessons learned here to you. For more information on this episode, see the show notes in your podcast app or visit legalpodcast.com.